Today we will talk about vocabulary in paper 1. So let's get started. To revise for the vocab, you can refer to our revision guidelines or our dictation scope. You can see that vocabulary from Module 4, 5, and 6 are selected and they will be tested in the exam. So please make sure you revise for these words in advance. Now, let's look at one past paper. Let's look at question 1. Maintaining a healthy diet is important because it dissuades our bodies from diseases. Then you can see there is actually a relationship between these two clauses. Maintaining a healthy diet. So you can think about the reasons why we need to maintain a healthy diet. Then the reasons why we should maintain a healthy diet is that it protects our bodies from diseases. Now, you select the correct word. However, can you tell me, is this a correct answer? No, because you can see the tense here, it dissuades our bodies. We are not using present tense. That's why we need to add as. It protects our bodies from diseases. That's why when you work on your vocab part in paper 1, please make sure that your sentence is grammatically correct. Otherwise, you will lose lots of points. That's why it protects our bodies from diseases. Now, let's move on to question 2. A balanced diet can help reduce weight and lower the risk of disease. So now you can think about the reasons why we need to have a balanced or the benefit of a balanced diet. So, a balanced diet can help control weight and then lower the risk of problems such as heart disease and diabetes. So for question 3, you can see that if we do not have a balanced diet, we may face lots of problems such as heart disease, diabetes. So we need to think about the bad effect. So if we do not have a balanced diet, we may have the problem of obesity, heart disease, and diabetes. That's why you can see these are the problems that we may face if we do not have a balanced diet. Now, let's move on to question 4. For young people who often eat such as fried chicken, so you can see there is a hint here, fried chicken. So this is actually an example of junk food. Junk food. So for young people who often eat junk food such as fried chicken, question 5. It is important to them about the importance of healthy meals. It means we need to talk about or we need to tell them why it is important to have healthy meals. So we need to tell them or we need to teach them about the importance of healthy meals. So can you think of a synonym of the word teach? It would be educate. So it is important to educate them about the importance of healthy meals. So it is important for us to teach them about the importance of healthy meals. Then let's move on to question 6. Having too much and sugary snacks can harm our health. So harm our health. You can see that if we eat or consume it may not be very good for our body, right? So it can be having too much fat and sugary snacks can harm our health. So it means these two items are not good for our health. That's why it may harm our health. Question 7. In contrast, nutrition food can do physical and mental well-being. So if we eat nutrition food, it can improve our physical and mental health or physical and mental well-being. It means nutrition food is good for our body. That's why it improves our physical and mental well-being. Now, let's move on to question 8. When people feel do, they may turn to unhealthy eating. So you can see people feel do. This should be an adjective because it talks about our feeling, right? So people feel do, they may turn to unhealthy eating. Do you still remember we worked on one writing which is related to the topic, stress eating. So when people feel stressed, they may turn to unhealthy eating. So maybe they eat a lot of junk food. However, choosing nutrition food can boost energy and mood. Now, let's move on to question 9. Our body are do, and the food we eat directly affects how they work. So our bodies are do. You can predict that we should put a positive adjective here to describe our bodies, right? So it should be something like our bodies are important. Our bodies are precious. And the food we eat directly affects how they work. Let's move on to the last question. By focusing on something, we can protect our health and set a good example for others. So we should focus on something that is very important, right? So by focusing on a balanced diet, we can protect our health and set a good example for others. That's all for the vocab part. Good luck for your exam.